What is up, you guys? We are live here on the YouTube channel. My name is Jeremy with Sergeant Tank LLC or sergeanttank.com. Thank you so much for joining me here on a afternoon live stream. Today, I'm just going to cover some frequently asked questions, some upcoming events. It's been, I want to say, 3 or 4 weeks since I've last done an update here on YouTube. I know that it takes couple of minutes before notifications and that go out. With that being said, if you guys are not receiving notifications, since right now we don't have a set schedule, I encourage you guys to make sure that you subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any updates. Check out our community tab as well as Instagram. Those type of links and so forth will be in the description for you guys once this is completed. We got Frank Dominguez first. It's been a while. I appreciate you very much. If you are still hanging with us here, Frank, you've been a longtime supporter, not only of this channel, but many others within the community. So I definitely appreciate it. I encourage you guys, if you want to, feel free to go ahead and share it out. Like I said, you always have that awkward phase at the beginning until we get a few folks here in the chat. I encourage you guys to put at Sergeant Tank so it highlights for me here in the chat as we get going. And if there is something specific that you have directed towards me, then that will highlight and let me know, hey, you have a question specifically for myself. So, yeah, we're going to give it, like I said, just a couple of minutes, you guys, because with notifications that going out on the platform, I do know that it takes a bit. I don't know who else is live streaming at this point in time. So I just had to use my best judgment and pick 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to try to just spend a few minutes with you guys, give you some updates, and all of that jazz. All right. If audio, video is doing okay, just let me know. Give me a thumbs up. You can like. They'll let me know that audio and video is at least somewhat on par. And, yeah, I am going to actually pull up my right now I'm in the back end, so I want to make sure that it's actually everything is good with the live stream. So just bear with me here a second, and I'm going to actually pull up the live URL link directly from YouTube, and hopefully everything is somewhat okay. Let's see here. Okay, it looks like we are good, at least on my end. So hopefully that is the same for you guys. I'm looking at 2 different pages here, but yeah. What is up? Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate it. So yeah, do me a favor, you guys. If you want to, feel free to go ahead and share it out. It is an awkward phase when you only have like a couple of people in the chat. Kind of reminds me of my very first days of starting out on doing YouTube when I had basically no followers. So, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time just regurgitating all this information. So I do like to wait for a few more to join. So just bear with me. In the meantime, we can just hang out here with who we have. And feel free to go ahead and put your questions in the chat for me. So I hope everybody is doing well, depending on where you're at. Things, of course, here in Michigan are starting to pick up with regards to spring. The temperatures are looking at the projected forecast over the next week, 10 days. It is showing, even though we are still actually dipping down into the freezing temperatures at night. This question is one of the frequently asked questions I'll get to here in a little bit, but just kind of make note of that. Pond season, so tub season, whatever you want to call them, outdoor stocking, vats, that sort of thing. Of course, myself and many others who have been a long time in the hobby and supplying ornamental fish within the aquatic pet industry, specifically freshwater, know when you're in certain climates, that is one of the ways to increase overall productivity. And this is something I ultimately enjoy doing, and I've enjoyed doing the last several years, and that is doing outdoor stock. So that is something, again, I will kind of talk about a little bit later on here. with regard to some recommendations I have, because that is one of the frequently asked questions when it comes to stocking ideas for outdoors. And again, there is variables with that depending on the climate and that sort of thing. So stay tuned, and we will get to that as well. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. As far as the orders from anybody who has ordered from us, I definitely appreciate it. That is another thing that I will be covering as well here in a couple of minutes. That's also another frequently asked question. I try to figure out, okay, what topic wise. I literally have done well over 400 live streams here just on YouTube alone. Obviously, the last couple of years, it's been pretty stagnant, but I do pop on here once in a while. It's just been very busy, and trying to commit and lay out a schedule that right now is just kind of up in the air with everything going on between business and family and that sort of thing. So hopefully you guys can understand that. Kind of segueing into talking about when it comes to one of the questions oftentimes asked is, how do I get in contact with you? And I have people via email. So right there is obviously kind of answering the question for themselves. That is how you get in contact with me. So the best way to get in contact with us here at Sergeant Tang is to simply just go to our Contact Us on sergeanttang.com on the website, and that is the best, where it's going to reroute, and then you can put your specific questions. So any business inquiries and that sort of thing, I like to just have everything filtered through there. Then we can go through it. And we are pretty quick about getting back just from a customer service standpoint. So our hours, another thing that comes up is the hours that we have via the site and then on Google. Right now, due to the whole situation that's going on throughout the world, is we have restricted, actually the first of last, so 2020, we have postponed until it's more feasible to do so, is for appointment based, where you can actually come and purchase direct out of the fish rooms. Right now, everything is on hold with that. So we do offer, if you are local within the area, again, that's how you find out and how you get in contact with us, is through the Contact Us on sergeanttang.com. And that's how you can go and let us know. Obviously, you're going to know if you're within our market through the local aquarium clubs and that sort of thing. And we do a lot of, everything within the CDC guidelines and so forth to ensure that everybody tries to remain safe and that sort of thing when it comes to doing pickups. We do not do any delivery. That is something that we do not offer at this point in time. That is another question that oftentimes that we get. Another question that comes up when it comes to the website is if it is classified as, and this is not picking on anybody in specific, but these are questions that I've gotten over the years. And sometimes it's classified or sometimes it's addressed like let's use some Gudaids, for instance, that we have on the site. Is, let's say it's Gudaids, is Zononeticus tequila, and then it'll say, let's say group of 3 on sex. And one of the questions that sometimes we get is pretty self-explanatory. I always encourage people to ensure that you actually read the description, because I can almost guarantee you, we are very good about being more detailed in the description. So there shouldn't be any questions, pretty self-explanatory. But just to clarify that, a group of 3 means 3 unsexed fish. Let's say it's 3/4 to an inch in size. Really isn't much else to touch on that, but surprisingly, we do get that question. And I just encourage people to actually read the description. So any specific location, especially when you're talking about Gudaids, all that location information would be on there. If it has to do with other type of specimens that we have on there, reading the description is important, because I can almost guarantee you most of the time when those questions are left for us to try to address, most likely that individual did not read the description. So location information and then is in there. All the water parameters for which we adapt and condition all of our livestock is listed in there. So I just encourage folks to, and again, you go on a lot of sites and there's just a ton of information within the description. We just try to keep it simple, sweet, to the point. The information is in there. And if there is something outside of that, then at that point in time, it would be appropriate to go ahead and leave us a message. But all we're going to do is, we are busy, and it's no offense whatsoever. It's just simply, we're going to redirect you to the description or whatever hyperlink that we have for you, and all the information is in there. So what is the other one here? We no longer offer any type of wholesaling, just because of everything going on. Right now, our focus is direct to consumer. As some may or may not be aware, we have been dealing direct to consumer as well as wholesale levels since 2007. So we used to do a lot more with wholesale before we even started e-commerce a few years back. That's predominantly what we were doing, besides just local hobbyists, that sort of thing. But at this point in time, we're not. So that really is about all I can say on that. Like I said, you guys, all the information when it comes to events, descriptions of each listing. Another question oftentimes is asked when it comes to the site is, do we offer any type of special order? So that's something that we used to do when it comes to specific species and location. Maybe it's something that we actually have. I can almost guarantee you, and this isn't too far-fetched, we only offer probably about 30% of the actual stocking that we have in our fish rooms on the site. So that's why I always encourage folks, if you are within close proximity, even an hour, hour and a half, even 2 hours to a local aquarium club, typically meets once a month. I get it. There's a lot of restrictions going on right now. I will get that here in a couple of minutes with our own local club. But when it comes to auctions, swaps, that sort of thing, we do reserve a lot of those specific livestock to offer locally through swaps, that sort of thing. The risk and the potential is higher and greater, especially when you look at it depending on the specific species that we're offering. I'm not going to sit here and rant on the importance of ensuring that you try to maintain close-knit groups when it comes to specific blood lineage, especially if it's something that you've been working for many years like we have. And then it makes it easier for myself to locate within close proximity of somebody else, either a friend or somebody else within close proximity to us, where I can get my hands on it without having to go through the unnecessary stress of shipping and that sort of thing. So hopefully that makes sense. So we do not offer any type of wholesale group discount pricing. Again, there really isn't much else to say about that. The next thing I want to just make note of is we do have some upcoming events taking place. The events listed at sergeanttane.com. You just scroll to the bottom. At the footer of the page, on the main landing page, and you'll see at the bottom there is an events tab that you can click on that will bring up right now any events that we are a part of. Not saying that we're hosting these events. We just happen to be there in presence. If we're giving a talk, if it's going to be an auction, a swap, that sort of thing, we're going to list that on there for you guys. Because again, that's another question that we get is, where are we going to be at what days and times? And I figure instead of just constantly sending out messages and emails, it's just easier to put it on the site for you guys. So that's what we did there. Then the one coming up next week, Saturday, is going to be April the 24th of obviously 2021, and that is going to be the Southwest Michigan Aquarium Society swap. There's an outdoor swap from 11 to 3. I'm not going to go into any other details after this is done. Just check our site, go to the events, and all the information is on there for you guys as far as location, times, that sort of thing. Any other links, websites outside of ours, it's all there for you guys. The one after that is going to be May 22nd of 2021, and that is our local aquarium club, which is Grand Valley Aquarium Club, and that is a swap from 11 to 3 as well. And then the third one here that I have is going to be June 12th from 7 p.m. To 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is talk that I'll be giving various aspects of methodology of the freshwater fish breeding. And it goes really a lot more in depth, a lot more scientific based and that sort of thing. Just kind of nerding out more, I guess, tips and tricks and more secrets that we have been implementing for many years in various aspects of this hobby that I share at an in-person event. So kind of segueing into the next thing, do we record our talks? The simple answer is no. The reason that is, as well as many other individuals out there that have presented at various clubs and other types of affiliations, that sort of thing, is it kind of defeats the purpose. We always try to encourage folks to go in person. What is the point to do a recording and then release it here on YouTube to that's one of the perks, I guess, of why we put so much time and effort into putting together slides, putting together all the all the photographs and the videos and that sort of thing. This specific presentation, if I recall correctly, I want to say has over 130 slides. So that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and that sort of thing. And now, if the club decides to Facebook Live it to a Facebook group, at that point, it is what it is. I'm not going to necessarily discourage that. But as far as me personally recording for somebody else and then putting it here on YouTube, we don't. Let's see here. All right. There is I think that wraps it up as far as more website event specific type frequently asked questions that we get. There is other questions that I'm going to get into here in a minute. I just want to say hello to a couple of folks here in the chat. We got Mike Fish Tank Barn. How you doing, buddy? OG's Fish Room. Hello. We got Gone Wishing Aquatics. How you doing, buddy? So if you guys are just chiming in here, just give me a thumbs up, give me a like, let me know. That just tells me that audio and video at this point is somewhat okay for you guys. All right, so some of the frequently asked questions I've been getting since, the last few years since putting out any form of content here on social media, on the YouTube platform, I kind of want to cover. So one of the first ones, when you're talking about like your Pomacia bridgesii, so your mystery snail. So there's different color morphs of your mystery snail. You could have golds, browns, chocolates, ivory, purple, the list goes on. You guys get my point. Why are they not active? So right now we don't even offer. We used to sell those, a few years back. We no longer even working with those. We just kind of went away from it. And we used to produce thousands of those, but we no longer are working with them. But again, the people are going back, which is good. I mean, it's evergreen content. So I don't know when that video was even put out. It was probably 2.5, 3 years ago now. I don't even recall. I probably have gone through 8 different revisions of various fish rooms since that time. So we're always different, expanding and changing things based on the needs and the overall practicality of what we're working on within the fish rooms. And with that being said, the easiest way to look at it, yes, and that is not only with Pomacia bridgesii, that is with many other aquatic organisms when it falls into snails and invertebrates and that sort of thing. When you're looking at snails, one of the first things that you can do if you are even second guessing, let's say you ordered a snail from somebody and you've gone through the appropriate acclimation and it's now been a couple of days, you really haven't seen it, or it just kind of stays at the bottom. And if you even suspect, hey, this thing is no longer here, it is now deceased, just pick it up, especially anybody that knows it is a awful smell and you will know instantly if that thing is perished. So yes, you're going to have to either grab a net or you good old fashioned hand and pick it up and smell it. And that will tell you right then and there, to appropriately dispose of it after that point. But if there is no signs of that, just give it some time. It is not uncommon. You're going to see that with rabbit snails. You're going to see that with a lot of different snails. But again, it can be subjective depending on the snail, but that's about as easy as I can put it. Don't necessarily be alarmed. If you are alarmed, that is basically the method, the easiest method, most effective way to know definitively if it has passed on. Another one that comes up is in regards to incubation times when it comes to rearing, hatching, raising up through the embryo development when it comes to some of your Aphysimian, Funnel Penchex, a lot of various types of either semi-annual or non-annual type killifish. Again, question that comes up often is, what is the incubation time? And again, that can be pretty subjective, a lot of variables. If you guys want to know more, I only shared one method, one easy method on an evergreen video that I did. And what I mean by that is just a video that is constantly getting views and constantly, will stay somewhat active for folks on the YouTube platform that are searching for, those specific type of killifish. So the video I'm talking about is your Aphysemia austral or australe. Very beautiful killifish. And my easy response for that, again, if you apply what's actually in the video, and again, read the description. If the questions still aren't, addressed after that point, chances are I've already addressed it. I believe I did without actually going back. But anyway, it is one that I get often. And not even for folks that necessarily even watch the video. Typically between 10 and 14 days. And again, I'm not going to sit here and spend the next 3 hours talking about embryo development. I encourage you guys, if you are within the Grand Rapids, Michigan market, to come and check out the talk that, at this point, unless things change as far as in-person activity, the plan is, like I said, there in June of this year, they'll be giving a talk. And I go in a lot greater detail on not only with killifish, but a lot of other various specimens. Let's see. And that is water incubation as well. Just looking at my notes. Going back to, just to reiterate, specifically talking about online. Another question that comes up is folks are asking us, do we carry this? Do we carry that? The very simple response that we're going to give, what we have online is what we offer online. Like I was saying, we don't do special order requests no longer. We're not doing wholesale pricing or bulk pricing no longer. We've gotten away from all of that. So we try to remain very competitive. And not only, from the standpoint to without undercutting. Again, you guys got to keep in mind, we've been doing this for a very, very long time. And so things are constantly fluctuating when it comes to pricing. We always try to remain competitive when it comes to that without undercutting. So with that being said, and you're getting a very good bloodline. Let's see. I think that is about it for my notes. So I'm going to go back here to chat. Zelf, hello. Les, hello. Goose Lord, how are you? A smell you'll never forget. That is right. Let's see. All right. Well, we are about 23 minutes in. If you guys have any questions, any clarification that you need on that, feel free to go ahead and put at Sergeant Tang, so it highlights for me, and then I'll know that it's a question addressed for myself. All right. No questions, so I'm just going to kind of go into, at the beginning of this, talking about outdoor stocking ideas. So again, without covering every single variable that you can imagine, I'm just going to focus on our climate. So obviously being within the Michigan market, as you guys know, going through 4 various seasons. So we do things a little bit different. What I can tell you is we run roughly about 20 various sizes between 300 gallons to 55 vats. And each one of these is species specific. So we're not doing multi-species or multi-lineage type setups. We've done that before in the past, but we keep everything just species specific within each one of those vats to ensure the overall best productivity with regard to what we're actually producing, and as well as allowing for redundancy. So it's not like we're stocking every one of those at the get-go. It's actually for rearing and raising as we pull and we harvest throughout the summer various offspring as they're being produced. And already set up about, I want to say almost 4 weeks ago now. They already have water in them, and then what that allows us to do, and then we'll be soon adding vegetation, plants, and that sort of thing within each one of those vats. We just use river stone, various sizes, just a thin layer at the bottom, nothing special. And keep it very cost effective. You can use 55-gallon drums. You can cut those in half. There's actually a seam. So there's a couple of different styles of food grade type 55-gallon drums. And you can pick them up on Facebook Marketplace. Just search it, depending on where you're at. And you're going to have a couple of plugs on. It's going to be completely sealed on the one end and a couple of plugs on the other, usually white, and then you can get them in different colors, blue, black, that sort of thing. The other style is the ones that are going to have that large clamp that goes around, circular clamp, and then it's basically a white lid that would come off. So that style, yes, you can use. I wouldn't recommend using that if you're going to cut that drum in half, and it's just going to end up blowing out. It will leak. I just recommend getting the style that's completely sealed. Like I said, they can come in blue, white. You can get them for $5 or $10 a piece. And there's literally where they form those together in the process with that plastic. There's actually a center point. You can take a chalk line if you want to and snap it. But that literally is your half point line, and just take a circular saw and just be careful, and you just cut it almost perfect in a half. Only takes seconds. Now you have two there. Those work great. Another way that you could do it is same style that I like, and then you could cut a portion. You can make a hinge out of it, or just take the whole top off. Just kind of almost like a, you want to say like an oval shape or rectangle shape on top of that, and lay it basically like this. To get a little bit more water volume, as well as more linear space. Those can work great for rainbow fish. We also use just your Rubbermaid 100-gallon stock tanks, 300-gallon stock tanks. You can also get those totes. You can find them at Menards, Home Depot, oftentimes on sale for $5-6 a piece. I want to say they're about 18 gallons. And they hold like ice and beverages and that sort of thing. They have like the handles on either side. That is another great one, very cost effective. Those all actually work very well. I find no issues at all as far as bowing, anything like that. I have used those, what do you want to say, like the Husky totes, what are they, like 27 gallons, 18 gallons. They work great for storing, but they can bow, but there is ways around that. You can build a little frame around it to help. I've used even much cheaper grade years back when I was doing indoor sump systems with like a trickle tower setup, wet dry type filtration. So I know firsthand they can last. You just have to be careful with it. But being outdoors, you know, if they did spring a leak or whatever the case might be, chances are it's not going to be super catastrophic where you're going to lose everything in there. But again, I would recommend, if you're going to do it, just stick to the other ones I mentioned at the get-go. What I do recommend as well is trying to somewhat recess them a little bit into the ground. And I wouldn't put them in an area where they're getting full sun. You want to kind of like a balance between partial sun and shade. That's what I like. And that's what I found works well. So you got to use your own ingenuity and creativity if you don't really have any trees or any type of line of sight breakage from the sun, where it's going to not just be hammering on those, because they can overheat very quickly depending on the climate. So that's something why, if you kind of recess those right into earth, right into the soil, and then you can use that same river, very cost effective, like $2.86 a bag. Go to Home Depot, Menards, number of different places, and pick up, I want to say, the 40-50 pound bags. And I like the you can get the a couple of different sizes, and it just depends on what you're working with and what your objective is. But either one of those work great. And as far as stocking, I really enjoy working with various kerosins, cyprinids, so between tetras and barbs and that sort of thing. I really enjoy your Daniel margaritatus, your Socioproldanias, Galaxy rasboras, CPDs. We produce a lot of those. They work very well outdoors, depending on the climate. And other ones I enjoy working with is different Melanitania type species, so different types of rainbow fish. Unsuccessful, depending on, I know oftentimes certain individuals do introduce some of your Rheseus, but you got to keep in mind within that family, there is various species. I would not personally recommend doing a Rheseus walleye. So it's one that we have been producing for several years now and providing to the market. I found those, even from their natural habitats, do prefer cooler temperatures. They do produce much better. I do have a full article on those as well on our website. Now, if you're looking at some of your other ones, like your Japanese rice fish and that sort of thing, yes, they can, I find, handle different bigger fluctuations, even cool temps to warmer temps. I personally, if somebody asked me, would you put out, and if you want to do it and you have success, as I always tell you guys, not broke it, don't try to fix it. There's no need for it. So what we try to do is condition through condition adaptation, something I have been preaching on for years, the importance of those two, how they really go, in harmony with one another. It is very important to understand that no matter what you're working with indoors to getting ready, condition, adapt them to now handle the transition to going outdoors. So that's why at this point, it's March the 17th of 2021. So about a month ago, we had already filled up those various vats outdoors and no stock in them. There is plants on a couple of different systems that were overwintering. And then those will then disperse here in the next few weeks. And then once temps maintain at lows, so at nighttime, about 58 to 62, then I'll start removing. Again, keep in mind that's the lows, not the highs. So let's just, for easy math, you may not think 2 degrees is a big difference from like 58 to 60, but surprisingly, depending on what it is that you're working with, it can make a very big difference. So let's just say 60 degrees at the low consistently at night. And let's say there is a night where it's going to drop to 55, depending on the size. Again, if you really look at that stretch of time, if you look at that projected forecast, it's not going to be for several hours. It may be for 3, 4, 5 hours, something like that. Then it'll slowly start peaking back up. So just keep that in mind. Don't get too alarmed if you started putting things out there and you're like, wow, things are staying above 60 or so. And now they're, dropping down to, 55, something like that at one night. Chances are you will be fine. I'm trying to think. Other than that, like I said, I could talk for hours and days on all of this stuff, but hopefully that kind of makes sense for anybody that may have been interested in doing outdoor stock. Jennifer, hello. Thanks so much for popping in. I appreciate it. All right. So we're just going to go for just a few more minutes here, you guys. If no questions come in, I'll just go ahead and wrap it up. But I will give it a couple of minutes. I just want to address those things here for you guys. And if you are just popping in, just wait for this to process and upload, and you can go back and watch it from the beginning. Just put at Sergeant Tank if there is anything specific that you have for me. And there is, again, you guys always that awkward moment because there is about a 15 to 20-second delay between what I'm saying and once I actually see the comment and then be able to address it. So that's why I'm just waiting to ensure. And if there is no other questions, you guys, then I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up. So I just wanted to address those few items, some of those frequently asked questions. Hopefully that clarifies things to some individuals that may have been trying to reach out. We will be shipping again. Anybody that has ordered, so we have already sent an email out to you at this point. So check your spam folder, that sort of thing. So the only two emails that you're going to know that's legit and from us here at sergeanttank.com is either going to be info, at sergeanttank.com. Or it's going to be sergeanttankllc@gmail.com. So if you're not getting an email from one of those, just make sure you look at who it's addressed from, and you'll know that it is from us. But yeah, just definitely check your spam folder. You will get notifications once we get those shipments sent out. And it also gives you the capability as well if you want to put in for text notifications. Our system does allow for that. So want to thank you guys very much for this afternoon. Somewhat of an impromptu live stream. And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys right here on the next one.